Focus is one of the most powerful tools for reshaping the brain because whatever you pay attention to becomes stronger through neuroplasticity. When your mind repeatedly returns to the same thought or action, the brain rewires itself to make that pathway faster and more automatic. This means focus is not just a mental preference. It is a physical force that changes the structure of your brain. When you learn to direct your attention intentionally instead of letting it wander, you gain the ability to shape your mood, your thoughts, and your emotional stability. Focus is the gateway to mental clarity, improved memory, reduced anxiety, and long-term inner peace. To improve focus, you must first understand why the mind becomes scattered. The brain is naturally wired to detect threats, distractions, and new information. This survival mode makes the mind jump quickly from one thought to another. When anxiety increases, focus becomes even harder because the brain prioritizes scanning for danger instead of staying calm. By practicing intentional focus, you shift the brain from survival mode into a relaxed and stable state. This calm state is where learning becomes easier, emotions settle, and clarity replaces confusion. Recognizing this basic mechanism helps you take control of your mental patterns. One of the strongest focus-building exercises is single-point breathing. When you focus entirely on the feeling of your breath, you teach your brain to return to one anchor instead of jumping from thought to thought. Each time your mind wanders and you gently bring it back, you strengthen attention circuits the same way muscles strengthen during repeated exercise. This repetitive redirection increases gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, the center responsible for decision-making, emotional regulation, and deep focus. Over time, a calmer, more controlled mind naturally emerges. Another powerful technique to improve focus is removing multitasking. Multitasking forces your brain to rapidly switch between tasks rather than doing them together. This constant switching increases stress, weakens memory, and reduces creativity. When you choose one task at a time, the brain's neural pathways stay stable and strong instead of scattered. By simplifying your activities and giving complete attention to one thing, you train your brain to stay deeply engaged. This increases productivity, reduces mental clutter, and strengthens long-term focus. Focused intention meditation is another technique that directly reshapes the brain. In this exercise, you choose a single intention: peace, clarity, confidence, or concentration, and return your mind to it whenever distractions appear. This intentional repetition creates new emotional pathways, making positive mental states easier to activate. Over time, the brain becomes conditioned to return to calmness automatically. This method also reduces overthinking and emotional overload, helping the mind stay steady during stress. Limiting stimulation is essential for strengthening focus. When your environment is full of noise, bright screens, and constant interruptions, your brain remains overstimulated. This keeps you in a restless state where focus becomes difficult. By creating a quiet space, turning off unnecessary notifications, and organizing your surroundings, you signal your brain that it's safe to concentrate. In this peaceful environment, deeper attention naturally forms, and the brain learns to maintain this state even when life becomes busy. Mindful observation is another exercise that trains focus by teaching the brain to notice details without rushing. Simply observing an object, sound, or sensation with full presence activates the brain's attention networks. When you observe with mindfulness, the brain slows down, becomes more aware, and strengthens its ability to stay anchored. This practice also improves emotional control because it teaches you to respond rather than react. It builds patience, calmness, and mental steadiness. Reading slowly with full concentration is another strong way to train focus. When you read without rushing, you force your brain to follow one stream of information. This enhances comprehension, memory, and cognitive processing. It teaches the brain to slow down and absorb information deeply instead of scanning quickly. The more you practice slow reading, the easier it becomes to stay focused during other tasks, conversations, and meditation practices. Journaling is a powerful focus training tool because it organizes mental noise into clear thoughts. Writing forces your brain to follow a single line of thinking, improving clarity and reducing overwhelm. When you express your thoughts on paper, the brain becomes less reactive and more grounded. Journaling also helps track progress, identify patterns, and develop a stronger sense of self-awareness, an essential element of deep mental focus. Over time, it stabilizes emotions and builds inner calm. The final and most important step in changing your brain through focus is consistency. The brain rewires itself only through repetition. Even 5 minutes of daily focusing practice, breathing, meditation, mindful observation, or deep reading, creates lasting neural changes. Consistency strengthens mental discipline, sharpens memory, and reduces anxiety. Over time, the mind becomes calmer, clearer, and more resilient. By training your focus, you reshape your brain into a stronger, healthier, and more peaceful version of itself.